if you want to take them as a real deal hockey team, because they keep having the same issues and the coach is screaming and the poor performances, they need some better players, like if they want to be regarded as a real deal hockey team. And I know you just looked at the glass half full. They need a guy back there that's probably, like if they want to be a real deal hockey team, a guy that's better than Morgan Riley. Like a top flight guy that can move the puck. And you look at what John Tavares is playing with. If all three of those big guys are playing on the top line, they need a couple forwards. They need to stop, and there's no way to do it though, guys. They have 6 or 7 guys that are all the same player. The Nick Robertsons, the Yarncroaks, the Michelli. Like, it seems like it's the same player, that they're having difficulty trying to promote them and make them be a top 6 forward, and they're not that. Well, they're not that. That Michelli, it was a good idea. It was a good try. He's not a top-end NHL hockey.
He's healthy scratched on November 4th.
Yes,
right.
Yes, I mean, and I don't know I don't know what he's got to offer that's better than what he's brought to the table. So they need better players, and I just wish the league was in a position where you could make some kind of 80s trade, because that's what they need. Like, you can talk about systems and being on top of pucks and getting pucks in deep. They need a guy back there that can move the puck, and they need a couple forwards that can play top-end minutes and produce at a top-end level if you want them to be a top-end team. Until that happens, you're probably going to get – that defense has a real difficult time moving the puck.
They do not move the puck well.
No, anybody that knows hockey or anybody that's involved at the top level in this league would look at that team and say that back end has a difficult time moving the puck up. Guys like Brandon Carlo, great, big, tall guy, physical. He's got this big aura about him. Oh, he played for the Bruins. He doesn't move the puck that well. He doesn't do a lot of things that well, to be honest with you, the way he's playing this year. They need different players, and there's not really a way to do it unless you're going to bundle 3 or 4 of those guys that I just mentioned up and ship them out. Because the other thing about them, the players I just mentioned, they're not making $750,000. There's a bunch of them that are like $3 million, $2 million. Like, it's just, they're not cheap guys that don't do a whole lot.
No, it's fair, and it's a fair assessment, because I see. Like, I agree, Brian. Like, I don't think it's as bad as people are painting it, and I think there is – I've always said this. There is going to be change. This is not the team that is going to be going into the playoffs for the Maple Leafs.
How much change can you do, though, Jamie?
Well, Brian, I'm sorry. I think you have to be creative. Every team that wants to get to that next level, cup contender, all of that, there is going to be some change. You're going to have some currency. And I talked about it yesterday. Pittsburgh was a team that's near the top of the standings. I don't know if they'll end up there. But this is the only team in the offseason that was open for business. Now, I don't know if Kyle has changed his thought process, but there are going to be teams that will be open for business just through osmosis. You know, what's going to happen in Calgary? Some of those other teams that are, still rebuilding and turning. I think Tree has sat by. He's assessing his team. He's allowing guys like Easton Cowan to settle in and see where he's going to slot in the NHL. He might have to spend some time in the minors. He might not.
Okay.
That's,
Jamie, well, let's talk about the Leafs currency. They do not have any, unless you want to come up with a Joe from the Bridge type scenario where people are going to take Yarncrook and Robertson for a top-end player, and it just doesn't have – it's Joe from the Bridge type nonsense.
And I'm not trying to –
It is.
Listen, I'm not trying to defend it. What I'm saying – Joe from the Bridge take
it is. It's a Joe from the Bridge proposition. Over the years, he's like, you could package up Robertson and Yarncrook and Kampf, and you could bring in a real – like, he's a moron when it comes to making trades.
Well, let's take it easy. Here's the other thing. I'm just saying, I think this is a work in progress. That's my point. I don't know what you move for currency. Does Robertson move the needle for a team that wants somebody who they think that can play in the top 6? Maybe. That type of stuff. But coming back to what you said, Brian, I think all of those points were valid. We're all sitting there going, you lost the way you lost to Florida. Started the season, there's that Marner hangover. I thought Chris Pronger had an unbelievable quote about the Leafs yesterday.
I agree. It was a great quote.
Because they're a different team. So they're waking up and going, hey, we're skilled. We'll be able to turn that on. They're still skilled there, but it's a different type of skill. And I thought that was a really interesting quote for this team. They're still learning to play a different style without what you just mentioned, they had 3 game breakers, potentially a 4th with Tavares. They don't have that now. They've got 2.5, we'll call it, with Tavares, right? And those 2 took over last night, Nylander and Matthews. Not going to happen every night. But in years past, it was power play and Marner, and those three start cycling, and away they go, and they can grab 2 or 3 goals here or there or even up a game. It's a different look from this group this year, and I still think there's an adjustment period. And some of the stuff that we watched last night, the three of us, I was agreeing with you for 2 periods. That was nonsense.
Were terrible.
It was awful.
Like, there's no sugarcoating. It was awful.
But there is somewhere in the middle that I'm trying to find and give a little bit of reprieve and go, listen, they still have Matthews, still have Nylander. I thought the goalie was great when they needed to be. Like, Pittsburgh could have put a dagger. That could have been for Cobb. He made a couple good saves. You make it 4-0, that game is over. We're not talking about a comeback. He makes a couple big saves. Pittsburgh missed some chances, and I thought Pittsburgh took their foot off the gas. They looked overwhelmed. Like, the coach called the timeout. Like, it was just weird. Like, for a veteran team of those guys, they looked like they didn't have an answer.
Or they ran out of gas.
Yeah.
Because they were flying through 2 periods, and, that's their DNA, I guess, is move. And all of a sudden, it was a brilliant play off the draw. Like, McCabe to Matthews was a brilliant play. It was a great pass by McCabe.
Yeah.
And, listen, their power play, the Leafs power play right now is terrible. They don't go on the power play a lot. But that can change the complexion of things too.
Sure.
Because you look at actual points, individual points, Nylander, Nyes, and Tavares, I believe they're all up in the top 10 in the league in even strength points because they all have a ton of points and they're all 5-on-5 because they don't do anything on the power play. But you're right, and that Pronger quote was a great one in terms of, they used to be just relying on their talent. I'm going to butcher it a little bit, but
skill to get through, right?
Yeah, now it's your identity's changed, and it's as if they haven't accepted that yet. And that's where I think you're seeing some confusion with, a guy like Nick Waugh or Dakota Joshua. They can't play like that, and they're not going to play like that. Like, they are going to – the way they're going to be effective is shrink the ice, lean on teams, and, try to cycle and create chances off the cycle. I mean, that's how they're going to create anything in the future. And this is where it's complex, and this is where Berube's got to figure it out. And even Tree Living's got to figure it out. Like, you talk about bringing guys in. Who are you bringing in? Which direction are you going? Are you going in this direction where, okay, I need skill and I need speed? Because I think you look at this team and you could reason with that, pretty seriously reason with that. Or do you double down the other way? I want size and I want, maybe hockey IQ, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I don't know how he handles that. But, it's a transition for the team.